Hey guys, so if you've been following along with Starlink, you know that now there is an option for RV users to use Starlink on the road in their van. And I talked to a pretty well-known YouTuber. He goes by The Fine Print.
And we're gonna test out to see if Starlink will even work in a forest.
And Trent has been living in a van for the past 3 years. But he got Starlink about a month ago, and yeah, it's absolutely changed his experience on the road.
Oh geez, I'm gonna try not to fall off the van too.
In fact, we were able to do a Zoom call, of course, using his Starlink, and the one with the bad connection was me, unfortunately. I'm here in Missouri, and I was using the Wi-Fi at this Airbnb, and it failed twice.
Of course, it's my internet that goes out.
Yeah, I was about to say how ironic that was.
Yeah. No. I saw you freeze, and then I asked my parents, I was like, is your internet bad? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, great. You've been living in your van for how long now?
3 years, going on 4 now. Yeah.
Wow. What kind of van do you have?
Right now, I am living in a 2020 Ram ProMaster 3500 159-inch extended wheelbase van.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are you like a product of, the pandemic and COVID, just saying, screw it, I'm going to live in a van?
No, actually, I jumped into it before COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in a different van before this one. I ended up buying this one in COVID.
Okay.
So this is my second van build.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been in a van about a year and a half before COVID actually started.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then COVID happened, and it was probably like, all right, well, I'm socially distanced champion.
Yeah. I nothing really changed for me that much, except for the fact that, everything was closed for a good while there. But, my lifestyle felt similar. I was still camping in the woods and living the nomad lifestyle.
Right. I feel like on YouTube, it looks very glamorous, but there's got to be, tough things. But I mean, that's with everything.
Yeah, I was about to say that with every lifestyle, there's pros and cons. The grass is always greener on the other side. I love van life, but I do catch myself daydreaming about the day that I find someone to settle down with and we buy a house and we have a normal life.
Yeah.
It does sound very exciting, but also people look at my life and they're like, why, dude, you live in a van and you travel across the country. It's amazing.
Well,
but,
this is a season in your life. I mean, I doubt you'll be doing it, forever.
Right.
That would be probably really exhausting. So what are your go-to games?
Oh gosh, right now I'm really enjoying, some people may cringe at this, but I'm really enjoying Fortnite right now.
Okay.
Apex Legends. World of Warcraft has always been my go-to game. That game has been in my life through really difficult times, and it's helped me, just stay sane, and it's helped me make and maintain great friendships and relationships with people. So World of Warcraft definitely has my heart out of all the games in the world. But those are just to name a few. And Overwatch, of course.
Any Settlers of Catan?
Oh yes, we have the board game and we play it all. I'm actually traveling with some other van lifers too.
Oh, cool.
And we play that pretty frequently out by the fire. It's pretty awesome.
Now, if you guys have been following me from the beginning, when I made my first video about Starlink, this concept of gaming with Starlink was actually something that my ex-boyfriend and I tried to do. Unfortunately, at the time, we didn't realize that Starlink, still in beta, was geofenced, and so we took the Starlink unit 40 miles away from the service address. It didn't work so well.
It works. So this is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And this is Warzone.
Watch the skies.
And you're connected using Starlink satellite internet.
Yep, out here at the park.
Out here at a park with no service on my cell phone.
And it runs great.
Few moments later.
We've been booted out a few times. That was a little bit disappointing.
But here we have the Fine Print, who is not only able to game traveling on the road in his van, but he's also able to set up Starlink in the middle of, a forest and just get this connection that he would have never had without Starlink.
We're both Starlink fans, and we come into the Starlink world in quite different ways. But one of the first Starlink videos I tried to make was actually gaming using Starlink. But at the time it was in beta, it was Geofence. So
Yeah.
my ex-boyfriend and I, we were stupid and didn't realize that it wouldn't work. But you're currently doing what we were trying to do with the whole gaming thing. So like just, yeah, I'm sure that you must have been so stoked to get Starlink for your van.
Yeah, for a while there, I was using a service called Nomad Internet. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it essentially uses cell phone SIM cards. It's unthrottled and there's no data cap on it, apparently. But I don't know the full science behind it. But I think there's a little sketchy stuff going on with the company. I don't know. I really don't know. It just seems like that kind of goes against the terms of service with cell phone providers. So I was excited to not use that anymore. And when I found out Starlink was readily available for people like me that live on the road, I immediately pressed buy, because this is something I've been waiting on for a long time. Because like you were saying, I am a gamer, you know, it's a big part of me. It's been a big part of my life for most of my life. And when I moved into the van, I had to put that all to the side because there was no reliable internet solution for the longest time. But now it's like, it's really changed my life ever since I invested in Starlink. I'm able to, like, now I would never be able to have this video call had Starlink not become a thing. And it's just kind of blowing my mind. And my life is changing very drastically now that I have Starlink in my life. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I saw like Elon, he retweeted you?
Yeah. So I made a video about when I got Starlink and I was testing it out, doing the unboxing. Moment of truth. Here we go, baby. And I made it pretty cinematic. That's sort of what I do on my channel.
Yeah.
I take things up a notch. I don't just vlog. I'm a filmmaker at heart. So anything I film, I try to make it feel like an experience. So I filmed it in a very dramatic way. Like because to me, investing in Starlink was a very dramatic experience. It's like, this is going to level up my life so much. And I want people to watch this video and feel that too. So the way I shot that video was pretty cinematic, and I guess it caught the attention of Elon and SpaceX, and they ended up tweeting it out, which was super cool. Like I felt like I was on top of the world. When it happened, it was like 2 a.m. My time, and I just could not sleep for the rest of the night. It was amazing.
No, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And so how long have you had Starlink total now?
That's a great question. I'm gonna look real quick
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
posted that
good.
video, just because I'm curious. So I posted that on June. Wow, it's been a month. I've had it for a month.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I'm fairly new to the Starlink realm, and I'm blown away.
So of course I'm going to like refer people to your videos, but you know, in summary, if there was something that you could change about Starlink specifically for van life, what would it be?
That's a hard one to answer.
It must be perfect.
Honestly, I've had no issues with Starlink so far, but in a perfect world, I think it would be really cool if the dish weren't a dish and were an antenna.
Yeah.
Because that's more aerodynamic than in dish, obviously.
Right.
And driving with that would be so much easier. I just kind of wish the dish were a little more low profile. It already is pretty low profile, but you know, in a perfect world, obviously the more low profile it is, the better. Because obviously when you have a dish on the top of your roof or something, people immediately know, oh, they probably live in that vehicle, or, oh, they probably have expensive things like a computer in there. Maybe I can go rob them or something. You know, those are things that I think about.
Yeah. Have you been robbed?
No, thankfully.
Yes. Yeah. How cool that we can. So you're obviously, you're using Starlink right now. How are like the speeds, and have you noticed any changes in the month?
So the speeds are incredible for me. I am currently in a national forest where I have 0 cell signal, cannot even send a text, but I have Starlink plugged in, and boom, I've got high-speed internet. We're obviously doing this video call here. I've been live streaming on Twitch with it out here. It is insane how well it works. However, because Starlink is still in early development, it's obviously not perfect, and it's not going to be perfect for a while. And people need to know that. Right now, while I stream, when I'm live streaming on Twitch, there are some buffering spikes. So when the audience is watching, it'll have a crystal clear bit of video, and then it'll buffer for like a second or two.
Right.
And that's just gonna happen with satellite internet
Oh, yeah.
until they put up more satellites into the atmosphere. It's only gonna get better from here. But it's not perfect.
Right.
But as of right now, in my experience, it's unreal how well it works, because like I was saying, I don't have cell signal at all. Even with my cell phone booster, no signal. But Starlink, I have high speed internet right here, and it just blows my mind, and I'm still trying to grasp it, and it's so hard to.
I mean, like, was it on your radar before it was an option for RV van life people, or did you not know it about it?
No, I knew about it for a long time, but I also knew that it was kind of gridlocked, and if you were able to get it, you couldn't leave out of a certain, I think they're called cells. And so I just didn't even try, because I moved from place to place all the time, very consistently. It just wasn't viable to me at the time.
Right. So I am curious too, because I've had some people ask me this and I don't know the answer. Does it work when you're moving? Like you're actually moving the van, or is it more stationary?
So it does work. However, for a while there, the FCC or whatever wouldn't allow it. It was illegal to have it in operation while you're driving. But I think recently they've approved it. So you can use it on a boat, a plane, train, and car now. I could be wrong, but I did see an article about that.
Yes. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
They
okay.
did approve it, which means, hey, we'll probably have it. I know that they made a deal with Royal Caribbean and Hawaiian Airlines, and probably more to follow. But I was just curious if it like actually was capable of being used while in motion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
From people that I've talked to about it, I haven't personally done it because I don't have it actually mounted on my van yet.
Yes.
I just set it on the roof of my van because I like being able to leave Starlink with my friends at the campsite if I have to go into town and get groceries or something. I don't have to take the internet with me. So I don't have it mounted just yet. I'm still working on that, but
yeah. Well, and I was watching your video and you were saying that's probably one of the coolest features is that it's portable. You can move it around and get that.
Yeah. So a big part of what I do is not only do I game out of my van, but I also like gaming in unique places. So recently, I'm a big horror fan. So recently I was in a national forest and I wanted to play a horror game in the middle of the forest while live streaming it to my audience. And I wouldn't have been able to do that had I had Starlink mounted to my van, because I needed Starlink. I needed to take the dish out into the forest with me and set it on the ground to, get signal out there. So I personally do like the portability aspect of Starlink the most. Like, I think that's the coolest feature. I mean, it truly is wireless internet in that sense. And I want to keep it wireless, I guess.
Right. Well, and I just think it must be a game changer for you, because you've already been kind of adjusted to the van life, but not having reliable internet, it's very hard to get work done. It's very hard to, do anything. So it just must be night and day.
It really is. Like I would stay in campsites for maybe a day or two before having to go into town to upload a video or do a video call or something like that to, get some public Wi-Fi to use.
Right.
And now I have not gone into town for 3-4 weeks now. And it is really is game changing for me. And I truly finally feel like I'm off grid, even though I know that's not the pure definition of it, but it feels like I'm really disconnected from society in a really cool way.
I'm jealous. Do you like it?
I love it. I love it. I really do, because there's so much chaos happening out in the world. And cities, whenever I'm in a city, it kind of reminds me of that. It reminds me of that chaos constantly, because people are going places really fast. It's very fast paced. It's very cluttered. And out here in the forest and in nature, like, time feels slower. I'm able to ignore all the bad things that are happening, even though I'm connected to the internet, but I have the ability to turn off, my perspective of all these bad things happening in the world. And I can just be here in nature and not worry about any of that. And it's beautiful.
So are you a full-time YouTuber right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
YouTube and Twitch.
So you were able to build a base just for your gaming, and now you've probably brought in some new people interested in the Starlink aspect.
Yeah. So initially it was just I built an audience around my whole van life thing, and then I slowly incorporated the whole gaming thing into my brand. And I got a lot of gaming people invested in my life and van life in general. And now with my Starlink videos coming out, I'm getting a whole new audience of people that are just curious about Starlink. And then they're like, wait a second, you're in a van and you game too? That's kind of crazy. I've never heard of that before. So yeah, I've got a whole bunch of niches all coming to my channel now, which is kind of crazy.
So, and are you solo van life, or you have like a dog or a cat?
Yeah, I've got a dog named Millie, but it's just me. I'm the only human in the van.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so like, why, what inspired you to do this?
That's a bit of a long story, but initially I was living in a house, living a very normal life, and I went through a tough time and realized that I need change. I need to do something wild and crazy, drastic to make me love life again. I needed a new spark. And I had heard about people living and traveling in their vehicles before. And before I lived in a house, I was actually searching for a job and kind of sleeping in my Jeep before. So the idea of converting a van and traveling the country wasn't very scary to me. It was exciting. So, and in that moment when I was going through this very hard time, I was like, this is my chance to do something that I will look back on for the rest of my life and thank myself for. It was a big leap of faith, and it really has changed my life. And I've become such a different person, and it's shown me so much of the world and given me so much perspective on the world and myself. And I have zero regrets of making that decision.
One of the things, if I were to live in a van, especially if I were living by myself, that I think that I would be reassured by having Starlink is just this extra layer of safety, knowing that there was some form of connection that could be established if I needed help. And that was something actually that Trent agreed. Yeah, it is good to have that peace of mind knowing that Starlink is able to keep you connected.
Believe it or not, I'm actually a bit of self-diagnosed, a little bit of a hypochondriac a little bit. And whenever I'm far away from civilization, I get a little worried about, what if I break my leg or something? What if I need to go to the hospital? What if I need to call 911 and I don't have service? Well, now I don't have to worry about that because I have internet and I can make calls over the internet with my iPhone. And it's really, eased my mind in situations like that. Like, speaking of which, I was in Utah, and I went to step out of my van, and the clearance is a little high on the ProMaster, and I don't have a step. And I stepped out of the van and completely rolled my ankle, fell straight to the ground, screamed in agony. I thought I broke my ankle. Thankfully, I just rolled it. And for the next day or two, I was like crawling around the campsite trying to get around. But in that moment, if I did break my ankle, I was in a place where I didn't have signal. So I could have been in really big trouble. Because it was also my driving foot, the one that I pressed the gas on, and I wouldn't have been able to drive myself. Like, it would have just been so bad. And I think about that a lot. Like, now that I have Starlink, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Right. And it's just a wonderful relief.
Right. Do you find that a lot of people know what Starlink is?
No.
Yeah,
obviously.
I don't think so either.
No, yeah. A lot of people in like the Nomad community have heard of it, but they're like, what is that? Can I get like TV shows on it? They think it's like Netflix or something. But no, it's surprising how many people don't know it exists yet. Right. Which may or may not be a good thing. Because I also have heard that some people are saying that their speeds are suffering because so many people are getting Starlink now. I don't know if there's any value to that statement or not.
Right.
For me, I haven't experienced that. I don't know if it depends on where you're at in the world. But if that is the case, that is a little alarming. But I would assume that would only get better as more satellites get put up into the atmosphere. But yeah, that's just what I've heard.
I also wanted to know what he thought about the price of Starlink. For some people, that's still, too high. But he says he really thinks it's a good deal.
That's a point that everyone always brings up. It's really expensive. And for me, I think it's an incredible deal. Yeah, I was paying for Nomad Internet, which was basically just using a cell phone hotspot, a glorified cell phone hotspot. I was paying $150 for that. And it was nothing compared to this. Wow. And Starlink for me right now is with Portability activated, I think it's $130 a month, $600 for the hardware, and then $130 per month for the service.
Right.
For me, that is incredibly worth it because, again, I can have internet anywhere I want. I never have to worry about showing up to a place and wondering whether or not I'm going to be able to work here for
Right.
a long period of time. I can always have internet everywhere I go. And for me, that price is perfect. They could be charging $150 and I would pay it. But I think, again, people are so used to paying, internet in a city where, it's
Right.
obviously going to be much cheaper, and they're comparing it to that. And it's just not the same. It's completely different. So, I mean, $130 a month, totally feasible. I think that's totally reasonable. And I haven't complained about it.
So how many of you guys either live in a van, probably not a lot of you, but at least have an RV and are planning on using Starlink in your RV? Honestly, this whole, capability with Starlink makes me want to get an RV. I do have a Starlink unit. I'm not currently using it. And I haven't needed it. It was something that, we got to test out, but we didn't necessarily need it. But this was over a year ago when it was in beta. And it is pretty cool to know that I could use it and it would be probably really reliable. However, it won't be reliable if this dish dispute doesn't get worked out. So this is also something that you should consider signing if you haven't already. I will leave a link in the description so that you can make your voice heard, because we obviously do not want Starlink taken away, or having outages over 70% of the time, aka basically being taken away.
Did you get that email about the whole dish dispute, and did you sign that?
Yes. Yeah, that's actually kind of scary.
It is a little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. And that would be so sad if that were to happen.
Yeah.
Because here we are, this technology could advance humanity to the future. Like, giving internet access to people that don't have it or don't have the ability to have it can only do good for the world.
Right.
And taking that away from us should be a crime. Like, internet should be readily available for everybody. And that's what SpaceX is doing. And if Dish were to come in and take that away from us, like, how can anybody support that?
No.
Like, I hope it doesn't happen. I'm really crossing my fingers. I signed, and I hope everyone else signed that got the email.
Totally.
Because, again, Starlink is just going to change the world. It really will.
It already is, especially with this latest FCC approval. Like, it cannot be overstated how big this is.
Yeah. People really don't understand it. I don't know if you caught it in the last recording, but I was just talking about how people are so used to being in their house and getting like insane speeds essentially on their internet, and then they look at me and I do a speed test and I'm getting 147 down right now and about 12 megabits per second up, which is crazy. If you think about where I'm at in the middle of a national forest, and they look at this and they're like, dude, I get faster speeds in my house. But there's so many people that don't realize that, like, of course you're going to get faster speeds in your house. You're literally connected to a grid. You're in a city, you're in a town, a well-developed place. But the fact that you can get internet anywhere now is it's just insane. It really is. And there's no other way to explain it. It's insane.
Right. And, I think, because I was talking with my friend who does a lot of cruises, I was like, do you think that this will be, some people won't want to take advantage of this because they want to kind of be off grid and just not really be connected to the world, but that's a choice. But what it allows is, for the people that do want to work from wherever to do that.
There are also so many people in the United States that don't have internet, which is crazy to think about. And that having internet in a place, it could really open up so many things for you, and allow you to, it allows people to get jobs too and work from anywhere now. It's just game changing.
And educate themselves, considering that a lot of education is free online.
Yes, exactly.
You know, it really is amazing.
So I hope that you guys are enjoying your day. I can't believe that we are already in July. That is so crazy to me. Time is truly flying, and it is hot out here in Missouri, let me tell you what. But yeah, I just, you know, it's really cool to hear people's firsthand experiences using Starlink. And I tell you, I'm a little bit inspired by this whole idea of having that van life. So we'll see, you know, if anything happens with that. But for right now, I am just wrapping up my trip here, helping my sister move because she is living here now in Missouri, and I will be moving soon as well, but more details on that in another video. Well, thank you guys so much for watching Ellie in Space. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to give it a likes up. Please make sure to go follow The Fine Print. He does amazing work. He puts out really quality videos, so I'm sure that you will enjoy them. And here are some links to his videos. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.